we'll have about an additional 700,000 in bond premium, maybe a little more, but it'll be in that neighborhood, which is really exciting. The Wakefield roof will start after graduation. You push the bus purchases if they actually weren't due. Agents and hotels and that. So we would hope for that by the June. Whether or not we are awarded for those. Tiger House on track to be done. And we put out the bid for the new one yet, Andrea? So it'll go out this month, and then we usually put a step right on that, like the week before the board meeting, in case we want to with you guys. So that'll be coming, and then I'll just continue with Bond update stuff with next steps and what's coming as our partners give us more information on that. Questions?
Good. He was not here, but see her report there.
Great, thanks.
The Jack Lynch report.
I started, just a follow-up on our KISA. We talked about it the last 2 months, and I think you kind of heard each building, share a lot of reflection of that work. And that comes from our district leadership team. We have the building principals at the table, but we also have 2 other certified teachers, counselors, librarians, elective teachers, special ed teachers. So they're all a part of that, building that plan. So I gave a little description there. I'll bring back credit recovery numbers in June. And then still have not heard anything on the after school programming, but I wanted to put in there rough estimates on costs. This year, we budgeted about 25,000 out of at-risk for Wakefield. If we would need to pay for Lincoln, Garfield, Wakefield, it's roughly 121,000, putting all 3 together. So I broke down what those costs are. Basically, the grant, the part that's not in there is the required professional development and the evaluator. There's other pieces. They are what they are. So I put that in there for your consideration, and then I also put in front of you our expect success. Just reminder, if you look down the list, we have some wonderful staff members and community members that we are honoring. And it was really, I don't know, just pretty awesome to see the nominations come in for some of our community members and our staff members. So we hope that you will join us in honoring them on the 21st. I do need some board members to help with our retirees. So if a couple of you could be there, that would be greatly helpful to hand out their plaques to our retiring staff members. So lots of years of service, not only in 379, but just to education in general. So I'll take any questions that you guys have.
You normally hear back from the grant by now, or
Last year, I'm trying to think. I heard in May when we were a no. I think I knew by the May meeting that we were a no. So.
But you're telling me there's a chance.
We've all seen the movie, right? So. I know it's competitive and we worked really hard on it, so. We'll see.
It's a lot of work. So everyone who took part in that, thank you. That's an extensive process.
any other questions for Jack? Business items, the 1200 service.
Happy to take any questions. I think that jump through all of KSD So now it's a very heavily managed process through KSDE. Rates came back better than they were in our previous 5-year contract, which is a really big deal. Charles has been an awesome partner. We're thankful for all of you, the work that you do to feed our kids. They really do enjoy the food. And so that is really, really important. And when you add on the ability to them for getting a better rate per meal, they are also taking over in this agreement the employment of our food service driver. They will use our food truck. We've confirmed everything with insurance. We're all good there. And so I think that will help with staffing instead of our bus barn trying to find somebody who's willing to work just a few hours in the middle of the day. It'll work really well. We're excited about that. And just so you know, KSD hasn't done their final approval letter, but we've sent everything back and forth. They said they'd have everything we need. So I think we're fine, but we do need if you agree to approve the contract so we can do a partnership.
Any questions?
I move to approve the contracting with Compass Group USA Incorporated by and through its Cartwheels division.
Second.
Policy updates.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this. So these align with the new statute. Obviously, you guys are gonna look at some handbook language tonight that would align to these policy updates. And so the nice thing about these policies, they put board policies into place that require all of us and our employees to follow. But they're general enough to where on the handbook side, we get to tighten down how we implement those policies. Generally, you'll see a version of policy updates in July, general updates. And so as we continue to, I guess what I'm saying is you don't have to approve these tonight. We could just keep them floating and then put them with all of the policy updates. And that way it buys a little bit more time, because I've been hearing that there might be some tweaks and changes to some of the guidance that's coming out. It sounds like based on what our legislators passed and the feedback they're receiving, there were some pieces that maybe wasn't their intent when they passed the law. And so I don't know if it'll change or not, but it might be a good idea to just push these. And there's no rush. We're not in session. I don't think the law goes into effect until September 1st, maybe. And so happy to take any questions on the policies, but I guess I would lean towards just letting them flow to the next month with a general update. Something you guys just want to keep running on this? That
Sounds fine.
As long as we get one for the handbooks, they need to be published.
yeah, so the next item will be handbook.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
And we'll tackle the electronic device policy and student handbooks tonight.
Okay.
We would ask that you would,
Yeah.
so that they are ready for the agenda.
Okay.
Right, so yeah, we'll leave those for now. We move on to handbooks now.
So the last link in your agenda is a copy of this, and we've worked hard on this. We've gotten copies from lots of local districts around us. There's lots of different versions floating around out there. A couple of keys. Thank you. So we even made a few tweaks in between last month and this month. We tightened the definition of what is an electronic device to match the law. We've kind of laid it out in some options, blended this with KSB feedback and others. Option 1, just don't bring devices to school. That's an option for families. Option 2, if the family does want the student to have electronic devices, that we just outlined that they would ask to pay a fee to, house their electronic devices during the day. So it's their choice. If they want to bring it, then they would have to be responsible for buying that. It's $35 a pouch. Jacqueline has some coming.
It's the ones that have the buffer on them is 40.
Oh, sorry, 40. Okay. And again, this is written to where that doesn't have to be the one we pick. If there's other options out there, we can find. It's just worded that we will have and supply for purchase some type of secure storage device. And we are really leaning towards ones that when it goes in, it can't get a signal, just so we're not interrupting class time with buzzes and beeps and burps and that kind of thing. Obviously, they're not accessible during the day or sponsors even trips during the day. We did tweak our disciplines a little bit, discipline consequences, first offense confiscated, plus parent guardian will be called. Second, confiscated, the parent would have to then come pick the device up if it was a second time. The third one, confiscated, parent meeting, pick it up, and then in our the way you guys are familiar with our handbook, it lays out in levels of severity. And so we did put on a third offense that further consequences will apply per the discipline handbook. And the difference here was, well, we didn't say may, we said will, because something else is going to happen, but it might be vastly different for a second grader versus a sophomore. So if it's an elementary kiddo and we're having problems, it might be more of a loss of privilege thing, those kinds of things that impact kids at that age a little bit harder versus a high school kid. It might be an in-school suspension or a detention or something like that impact their lives in a different way. But again, aligned to the whole handbook. And as we implement it now, we've had some instances where a student might just refuse, if it's asked to be confiscated, that it might be refused and it said, no, you can't. So we did add a line in here that said, when asked at any point to turn over or securely store a device, refusal to comply will result in a suspension, just so we eliminate that as a thing. And so this was one that gets a little tougher, but I think we have some really good language, and if we need to tweak it, we can. But obviously, anything agreed upon or written in an IEP or a 504 for a student, lots of times those are more medical needs, or the examples that we have in the district now might monitor blood sugar or something along those lines. Obviously, that's going to be written in an approved plan. The piece that I think we'll probably struggle with a little bit, we have experienced it a little bit, has been a student bringing headphones, for example, and accompanying it with a doctor's note that says it's needed for X, Y, or Z. And so those are always a little tough because we've had some examples over the years where maybe a family will travel to another city and find the right doctor that will write them the right note, but we'll continue dealing with those. But
If something like that's needed too, I think to point out, it's not that headphones are not allowed, it's wireless. So if you have that, then you'll just have to plug into your device for whatever is needed. There's not a reason to be Bluetooth, is the point.
so you can't Bluetooth to a device in your bag or
Right.
whatever. So
They want a Bluetooth to the laptop that we provide or whatever device we provide them to.
Well, we probably better clarify that then,
That what?
that he said that it's fine if they connect their headphones or earbuds to
With
our
the
device.
doctors.
Oh, with the doctors, okay,
Yeah,
so that's what I was thinking is that at least this year, this was still on the supply list for middle school.
Yeah.
That we were supposed to provide headphones or earbuds for them to use, so I guess that's something we'll also have to address,
If they
Better.
the doctors.
Not Bluetooth.
that they have to be wired.
Yeah.
For all of them.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to find.
and then obviously locker room, zero tolerance.
Too easy to prove tonight.
Yes.
You guys, any changes you wanna address or bring up?
No wonder on option 2, where the first sentence after the underline piece that says students must place it. We know what it is, but do you need to clarify that? Students must place their personal electronic communication device in a school secure system.
Yeah, we could.
I don't know. You need to be more
that's easy.
clear on that.
Yeah, we can do that. And whatever we end up with that language on option 1 and 2, it is a question in the enrollment forms.
So like when I go to enroll my kid.
You'll pick
I'll
one
have
or
to Say
two.
if I want a pouch or not. Or
So you say you got pouches coming, are they samples that we're gonna choose from?
It's a sample, so you can see, there's really, it's just one, there's yes. one.
Those just one, how come we don't just order? I mean, we're gonna need them. Cause that's what we're gonna do.
I
don't
think we were
should-
hoping
I don't
to,
think we should make our administrators or office people or whatever, I don't know who's gonna monitor that in every building or who's gonna be in charge of that in every building. But if we're gonna make them put it in a pouch or whatever, we probably need to decide that, who's gonna be in charge and who's gonna do it and where it's gonna be done and how it's gonna be done.
So we've talked a lot about this, and the last thing we want to do is require an employee to monitor that process. And so what's gonna happen, if you buy a pouch, it is the expectation that you're responsible for putting it in that pouch. And if you get caught without it in your pouch, then you go through our disciplinary consequences. And so it's up to that kid.
Half of our enrollment will be out the first week.
Well, that they're gonna start
Because,
feeling it next year.
I'm just saying, I mean, you're gonna put the responsibility on the student to put it in the pouch.
They have to be responsible.
Okay, all right.
It says the school parents.
Yeah. I would hold off on ordering them till as late as possible, just in case they would change something,
Place the watch.
that. Well, you know, there's how many school districts in Kansas, and how many people are
Yeah.
gonna have to buy them? And how many are gonna be available?
You wanna be on the front side of that,
Yeah.
especially to have
To me.
by the start of the school year anyway.
We've checked on inventory.
Okay.
Now, has there been other research besides, is it Yonder? Okay, have you checked other companies that's?
We did previously, the one thing that Yonder had was I used, let me find their word, it's the one that protects the signal.
Is it the case?
Trying to find the word.
So kind of what we talked about at the admin table has been, we need direction from you on our what language.
Buffer.
Once we get that direction from him.
We'll
language that's
Come back with
approved,
the thing.
then we were going to start investigating other options. We've reached out to a few districts, a few different things. I think part of it is we are gonna have this, who gave us that example of the one Matt found, I think. Anyhow, it's a clear storage case with
It was
it's like
great.
$150, but we are gonna have one of those in every building. So that if the kid does show up without a pouch, or that we get to a level, maybe a consequence, once you get to second or third, your pouch isn't an option anymore. You have to come to said place, put it in the drawer, lock it, and that might be your consequence for the rest of the year, because we can't trust you to put it in your pouch. And so it's a minimal expense, but those are all things we're kind of evaluating and talking about still. So,
That's why we didn't write the word Yonder in the policy, because it could be another brand or whatever. We're still trying to get that, and also, like you said, see if they change the language too. So.
I'd also kind of hate to order pouches, we don't know how many we're actually gonna need. I mean, if high schoolers can leave them in their cars and my middle schoolers be having his,
so
so.
the analogy, Linda, that we came up with was, if you have an Apple product, you know, the key to them getting you to buy a different device is they change the charger. Well, so we don't want to buy just a certain number of one and then they go change and, change the key or the way to get into it. So our initial thought was to just buy enough buy 1,200 of them. Even though we know we won't use 1,200, but then we'll have several hundred in the queue, so that at least maybe we can't lessen the risk of changing the way you get into them, or, you know, something changing, and that way maybe we could stick to something for a longer period of time.
And I'm still hoping some parent with deeper pockets than me sues the lawsuit, sues the legislators and makes it go away. That they will, that this will be a 1 year issue. With this kind of level of restrictions, I don't want us to dump it on something that hopefully we will take away.
And then later on in the summer, related to the policy we're talking about, we will have to likely select a communication platform for teachers, staff, and coaches to use. And we're in the, Matt, Jacqueline have been evaluating those, sitting in on webinars and those kinds of things, talking to other districts. And so I think we've narrowed it down to a couple, but I think that will be another piece that will cost us some money this summer. I think in the end, it'll be fine. It's probably good practice anyways. And something along those lines will likely come with it.
Well, I'm gonna try, I mean.
I have a question.
Okay,
Did staff give any feedback to which option they would prefer, or they think would be maybe less? I don't know, maybe just easier, I guess.
So we wrote the policy based on the law. There wasn't a lot of flexibility to have choices on the ability to choose or change. The law is what the law is.
No. But I mean, option 1 and 2, were those choices in the law? Or are
They were
those-
recommended to
those
us
were- Okay.
as that we allow those.
that
To
we-
just say, don't bring them, you're
Okay.
gonna have kids bring them, so you're gonna have a middle schooler who doesn't have a landline anymore, and their parent says, no, I want them to be able to call when they're walking home, so you need to have something in
Have
there.
it there. Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
that.
And
Yeah.
from a financial standpoint, there's one option there that they can do that
Okay,
does not cost them.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that, yeah.
And just little tweaks like we originally had as an option, you can leave it in the vehicle. Well, KSB said, don't leave that as an option. That's up to them to do. Because if you tell them that's an option and something happens, then that liability comes back on you. And so they just said, keep it simple. Securely stored or don't bring it.
so on that note, do we need to clarify that to say do not bring device into school? Clarify that it is okay to have it in parking lot.
I think we stay out of that and let them figure it out.
Okay.
Number
And I know
one
it's
says,
the
I just don't
school-
see.
School doesn't include parking lot, it's not like school property.
I don't,
Question. Once they get back to their car after school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so
Good to
we
go.
add to school building. You know, so that it's okay until you get to the door.
Into school.
Yeah, but my thing says a USD 379 staff member will lock and unlock the device. So who's gonna be?
Well, we will to unlock the device.
Says device will be accessible at the end of the school day or upon dismissal and unlocked by a 379 staff.
So is what we mean there is the kids won't have a key to unlock it. Is in the examples of the districts that have done it, there's a lock hanging on the door as they go out the classroom, and the teacher doesn't actually have to do anything. They go put their device up to the unlocker and unlocks and they walk out.
Somebody said even some schools have right at the entrance doors.
Yeah,
When
then
you
that
first
was
come in.
funny. We learned that because the district that we talked to had experienced kids leaving school without unlocking them. And then the school was closed and they didn't have a way, so we'll have one mounted on the outside of the building, so that if a kid leaves the building and
So
they
that means
forget,
all your students have to come in the same door.
we'll have,
no, there'll be multiple ones throughout the building for them to get unlocked, but after hours, probably just one at the main door for them to come back if, oh, it's 6 o'clock and I forgot, well, go back up to the school and do it.
for every many pouches you buy, you get a key.
Do it that way, then that'll be a good reminder if they do forget. They'll come back and unlock it out, place it outside the building, then. For that next one.
I forget my car keys on my desk, get all the way to my car, walk all the way back.
Move we approve the handbooks as presented, including the wording of the electronic devices.
Second.
All those in favor?
So. Is this?
I think she said handbook, did she, and honestly, it didn't. Yep. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I just saw him, but I thought it was, oh, thank you. I haven't looked at, sorry.
Those are for review still next month.
Review, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, approval next month. On staff handbooks, just to let you guys chew on them a little bit, so. So last year we aligned all of our handbook language with staff dress code. And so we have similar language across, and so we've been talking about it as an admin meeting. I just wanted to talk to you about expectations a little bit, and so. Some common themes that are coming, and so obviously we have the. Business professional attire during the week, and then. Jeans and a school. Shirt. School shirt of some kind, spirit, whatever, on Fridays. And so we've had some questions about, and then we have some wording in there that says job. As required by your job description or something like that. And so I just want to clarify, like. Some examples like shop teachers, you know. What our expectations there are, or maybe a staff member who's. Changing diapers every day, or you know, even on like coaches on game day. Are they, you know, what are our expectations? Are you guys around that idea? What's your interpretation of some of those nuances? Or I talk about the example of like, well, I don't have them on today, but maybe I have a nice collar shirt, slacks on, but I have, you know, the new trend or style is more of a tennis shoe instead of a dress shoe. Or, you know, there's just all these things, like I have uncomfortable slacks today, but there's some more comfy ones that maybe might be referred to as a more of a golf pant that look like a dress pant. But I guess my question is, for interpretation as we head into next year, kind of be thinking about those nuances, or even like down to business professional can be also interpreted a little bit differently. Like at times I'll wear a quarter zip with slacks and nice shoes. Is that okay? Like how minute are you guys wanting us to get with dress code? And you don't have, I know I'm putting you on the spot tonight. These are all the questions. We want to carry out what you guys want us to do, but there's a lot of nuances within that. And I just want to make sure that we're aligned with what your expectations are so that we can carry that out consistently across our building. And then you get into the woman side, and it gets a little bit more tricky of interpretation versus, or like the colored jeans comes up a lot. You know, you have jeans that look nice, but they're jeans, but they're a different color, or, you know, just lots of those different things. Kind of trying to sort out what you guys' expectations are related to that topic. And I got a list of kind of some of the questions or nuances that I could send
Could you
you
send us that?
after the meeting, and then you guys can look that over of the what ifs, because you could what if it
Oh, you know.
to death. And obviously the obvious things we know, I mean, those aren't difficult, but, anyhow, those are some things that I would hope that we could talk about maybe next month and clarify a little bit, just so we know what their expectations are related to that topic.
I really thought when I went to the training for negotiations today, that this is not something we can set outside of negotiations.
So you can put expectations in a staff handbook outside of negotiation.
Like we can say professional dress, but we shouldn't, that's. That's code. Maybe we
That's a
should
good
look
question.
into that. Might be a KSB question since the pre-show actually said we can't.
Sure. I can ask that question. But anyhow, just want to make sure we're all on the same page headed into next year so that we can make sure we do what we're being asked, so.
Now we can move on.
So there's a lot
Write the
here.
list.
Yeah, so there's a lot here. We have a partner, Chris. Feel free to jump up, Chris from Napholz. You guys met him at our facility walkthrough. He's our pre-construction contact from Napholz. And so a few things at your table. And remember, we're still very much in the planning stages. This is early work, but they, HTK and Napholz took all the information from our facility walkthrough tour and built maps based on some of the feedback or other potential things. Napholz has also started the process of putting some high level budgets to these things. So that you can start getting an idea of some budget costs for additional projects that might be able to add it. And remember, we're trying to talk bond / capital outlay blending here. So as long as we, in the next 2 months, Chris kind of said July, probably at the latest, have some decisions made so that they can pre-con it out. We can design and we fit in that pre-construction window, kind of that October timeframe. And then we could set and align GMPs to them and figure out how we're going to carry out the work. And so, I think, let us know if you think anything we missed from that facility tour day was not included on the map or the list, and we'll get that added. So as we're discussing today, if you notice something that wasn't on there, please let us know so that we can get it added and over to our partners to at least get a very, very high level starting number on it. So, and then just know, once you select kind of your top within our budget, that's when they'll really go to work refining that price and that estimate to understand what that total cost is gonna be.
What's the water heater replacement at Carton?
Up there, yeah, that's done.
It's on the list. It's.
No, but I think it's already been done.
Craig's here.
No, that was,
Lincoln.
Lincoln, we've had a few, just recently, there was one at Lincoln, but this is on the southeast corner. That's gets heated by clear down in the basement on the north. So that's traveling a long ways to get, and that they say it's not very hot, so. I don't see how, it's just a small, normal,
So where they want to put a water here.
that's, or at the end of the crawl space, under there, if anything. Like the nurses, underneath the nurses, that's kind of a concrete crawl space.
Well, if there's a sink in the nurses, and where else do they need hot water?
Well, there's the bathrooms right there, the boys' bathroom, kitchen area.
So the kitchen doesn't have hot water?
Well, it's warm, but it's fed from here to the north end.
It costs 40,000 for that water heater.
Yeah, but it'd be cheaper to put a point of use, like in the nurse's office, and a point of use. And then do something for the kitchen, than to do one big one and try to pipe it to everything on that side. I mean, you can buy a point of use and put it underneath the cabinet and have hot water for days.
You got them Lincoln and.
Yeah. And you can make them 120 volt, plug them into an outlet. I mean,
Maybe you're on demand.
well, it's just like say like the nurse's office, she needs hot water, she got one sink in there, so if you got a 2 gallon point of use and set it underneath the cabinet, pipe it to the sink and. So if she got 2 gallons of hot water, she probably not gonna ever use 2 gallons of hot water at the same time. You know, I'm just saying, instead of trying to do something and run through the tunnel and hope. I mean, if we gotta do something down at the kitchen, I mean, we can create a space somewhere surely and do that
Well,
with a bigger one.
that kitchen or the break room, kitchen's got a hot.
I'd say the kitchen's a separate addition to that building, was built separate. So
Talking
it,
about the kitchen.
Teachers
Or-
lounge.
oh, well, that would be another, you could stick it underneath underneath the sink and have hot water, just boom. Cap the lines that are feeding that, create two new, I mean. Point of use 2 or 4 gallon hot water here, you could do for less than $1,000. I mean, really, if you look at it, so. I would go that route instead of trying to put something in the tunnel and try to.
Yeah,
Or in the basement, yeah.
We can look at different options. It's,
Yeah, I-
it's a starting point.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to plug some numbers so you know. I mean, we can look at different options, putting the Insta water heater in there. I'm sure it's on gas, right? So.
So the stair lift at Garfield costs more than the stair lift that's going to Wakefield. That's there a reason for that?
I mean,
Is it the structure or what we're trying to fasten to?
what you're gonna fasten to and structure out.
Okay.
And we looked at multiple sides of that, trying to do different options too, so. I know the last time we kind of beat around different ideas and we kind of just plugged a little bit more of having to fasten a little bit more into it.
Okay.
So when you guys are kind of looking at the list, in your envelopes today, you'll have stickers that has your initials and it has a value on it. And just so you guys know where I'm coming from, you have 2.2 million worth of stickers in your envelope. And so where does that come from? And so remember a couple months ago, we had the extra credit, we sold the tower, so we're coming in with additional carryover. We'd like to sit around that 900 mark if we can for emergencies. And so we'll have about an additional 640 this year to carry over, plus our regular 860 in our annual budget for next year. And then we also have that 700 of bond premium. And so, and we have some more cushion in there, but very safely, I think we could budget out to an additional 2.2 if you so chose to accompany and accomplish during the bond work. And so today is very much a starting point. We don't have to make any decisions. Tonight is the purpose is to start sifting out, kind of prioritizing, putting some numbers to the same, some things, seeing what starts rising to the top, letting you guys start process and digesting what budget numbers are, where we're gonna plug those things. What might be able to fit into scope better than others. And so tonight, the purpose of tonight would be for you guys to use your cheat sheets from the tour and start thinking about what you felt like rose out as the highest level of needs. Obviously, we have greater needs than we have dollars, so we do have to do some prioritizing. And so once you guys get done tonight, we take all these charts and say, okay, Napholz, it's looking like these X number of items are sifting to the top. Not that they're final, that they're just working their way to the top. And then that they would say, okay,
Let's
start diving into these a little bit more detail, might refine some numbers for you next month and go, okay, we've dug into these specific things that appear to be rising to the top. Share that info, talk about those next month. If you're ready, approve them as moving forward. If not, we can go to the next month, but I would say by July, we need to have some decisions made as to what those additional projects would be. And then once they select those, obviously Napholz and HTK would do the design work necessary, all of those things, and they would be incorporated into our pre-con timeline. And they would also establish a GMP for our bond projects and for the additional projects. And we would track those through those pay apps throughout.
So on the Garfield, I don't see the wall, the gym wall in here.
Oh, good call.
That needs to be.
Yep.
Addressed.
Yep. Yeah, and if you see any of those other things, it was a lot to digest
Sure.
that day, but if you see other things.
And
I thought
also
the-
add cost of converting those classrooms in the basement. The one big one into 2 regular classrooms
At Lincoln?
at Lincoln. Because we talked about that, where that.
I didn't know we did, I mean, middle school, there's shower stall renovation on.
I think that's supposed to be the high school.
Yeah.
And there's
that's-
epoxy in the bathrooms and locker room, they have that epoxy in the.
That's on the wrong school.
I think it's both, actually.
We never even talked about shower stalls in middle school.
Not
at
I
all.
think we walked in there and we were talking about plumbing, like,
At the middle school?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A question about the Lincoln, ADA access to the track. Is that like concrete sidewalk is what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Um,
concrete, like a little 4-inch concrete sidewalk running out there.
And so that track is limestone, right? I forget what the word is.
Really?
Yeah,
Milling. So is it feasible to do that surface to the track?
yeah, we can,
A lower cost? Or just,
yeah,
I don't know if we need $120,000 sidewalk if the same material as the track would work,
we can do like,
if it would work with drainage and stuff.
we could do like an 80, like a rock dust or something like that, and kind of limestone and, water it, compact it, put it in lift and everything. So that could be out there. It's still, I mean. It's still gonna, like over time, it'll still kind of fail out.
You
It's
still
just-
want,
I just-
you want roll wheels on it.
Yeah,
Right.
does the sidewalk go anywhere else? That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like, will the sidewalk be useful for more than just going to a surface that?
I kind of thought on that was to kind of run it down a little farther, right down that parking lot and everything like that, just a little bit farther.
Give another access from the
Yeah.
parking lot.
So and then also if they're having a field day or something, I was kind of thinking maybe put some chairs out there, watch, something like that. So they're not. So just kind of
So it
think,
serves more than one purpose.
yeah, trying to.
So do we have any initial thoughts on the plumbing at Lincoln?
No, Craig.
That's an issue. Yeah. Well,
Well,
even the
yeah.
ones upstairs, we went through there and they say they're always clogged and they get one side to work and the other doesn't. I mean, we need to get that solved. I mean,
Right. I mean, one thing though, I think that we could do, probably even during this pre-con site, is maybe just running a scope down it and kind of seeing if there is kind of a.
if it's a large dollar item, I think we need to
Right.
consider.
To investigate it farther.
Yeah, we need
There
to
is
do
a,
it.
And I don't want to speak for Craig, but when we talked about that, Craig kind of thought that might be more of a student issue than a plumbing issue. In other words, stuff being put down, or like when there's mud in it, a kid putting their shoe in, but it would be worth a scope if that's easy.
just to see.
We've seen some paper towels.
Put a cell phone in the packet?
The first grade, no. A 13-year-old, yes.
Then the LED lighting upgrades for all the buildings.
That's gonna be through Integrity, I think. Yeah,
So,
they did a study, right? And they sent.
Yeah,
it
we've got a contract offered.
Right.
so that we would, that was what we've talked, it's a great question, is what we've talked about is we don't need to pay general construction management to accomplish that type of project. We could still use bond dollars to do it, but that we could, it's a design build. You hire direct with the company that you're gonna use and then they go do it. And so we could put it in too, if you wanted to, but it was just like one of those things, why would we pay for?
So it'd be part of the bond, but not the architectural stuff.
There you go.
Right.
We
I
don't,
just didn't know for sure if it was gonna be, if it was gonna correlate with also with the upgrades. While we're going through and doing some interior projects.
yeah, so
Because it's
like-
the company that showed up with them.
To go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's our sister company.
Yes, their company that showed up with them that put together that.
So if you look up here, Dave, like everything that's up here on top of your maps
Mhm.
is already an approved bond project. It's gonna get done as a process of a bond.
Correct.
So, and every
Yeah.
building has lighting.
Yeah, lighting improvements and everything like that.
What's the technology and access control?
Wakefield.
Secured entries and stuff like that. updating
Video.
So how come
system.
that's on additional instead of on the base scope?
Well, you have some secured entries and then you'll have some additional rerouting for systems, if you're changing out systems.
So Chris, I think he's talking about the bottom.
Oh.
It's getting door access at the football field.
Yeah,
It's networking out to the football field, so they don't have to pass out a key to get into the bathrooms, that a staff's badge would work to get them in.
For 85,000.
That's what say, yeah.
Well, that included Wi-Fi too, but I think
They were installing.
They're working on it. I asked for a
Twin Valley's
donation.
gonna put it in for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have Wi-Fi at our football field. It's kind of
Yes.
So
hard to do stuff.
Twin Valley had put it out at Auto Unruh and then they moved it up. So I put in a donation request for Wakefield and it was accepted because they've been working with you. So we're,
So they'll have
finishing it.
Wi-Fi. So.
we just need the card reader.
hardware, so
So
the,
85.
It'll
with the
shorten
card
the-
readers,
that was just with the Wi-Fi and everything.
just
trying
with
to-
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi and the card readers, like, so it'll go down.
And it has to be on our network, so
We can do.
they'll have to build a bridge from, Chris would talk about this better, but they will have to do some kind of wireless bridge from the football field to the building. So that it's on the same net. Otherwise, the door readers
And
don't work.
it's protected then.
So on the map
That makes
deals, the
sense.
ones that have orange stars by them, what is that?
Those were the ones Craig and I kind of went through and said, hey, if you're really, we would encourage you to think about these as potential items to raise to the top. You mean those stars over there? on the deal?
Well, no, these are orange stars on this map.
Oh, they are. We did put them on your map too. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
One thing I would say, on the safety game for the softball. I went up there and looked at that parade. I don't know how you do that. To me, you would have to put a different little section over each of the four bleachers. 'Cause there is so much space up there. I mean, a cable system and doing all that to protect everything up there. No way.
Well, I tell you right now,
You'd be $250,000.
Maybe
from being at Seco,
concession building, they get hit with a ball. I did find out.
Yeah, but that's going to a ball game, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it'd be easier to do, but I admit, I watched all the games from the car, okay? We'll go up there. I walked up there and it's like a corridor for a AAA baseball team. There's so much space up there to think we're gonna cover it with nets and cable systems. I don't think 75,000 touches it. So to me,
Seco over the weekend,
you want to protect the fans that are sitting there, but you can't protect the fans that are walking around. For how much space there is.
Most of those ballparks, it's not everything. It's just right there, like behind the,
Yeah,
like right where the bleachers are. at.
Right.
Right, that would be
That-
easy to do
that-
before
That's
bleachers,
the only
Andy.
place that they
Right,
ever.
that's
put
what I'm
that
saying,
for net
but-
netting.
But when I was
Yeah.
up there, they were, I mean, it'd be real expensive. And plus, like Craig, I think you said it takes about 3 days now to put up nets. And if we ask him to do that whole thing, it'd be 2 weeks of his time up there just putting up nets. And so I'm all for it, don't get me, but I think it has to be limited to the scope of protecting the fans that are sitting in the bleachers.
Chris, what were you thinking? Price that?
Just kind of like kind of that cable system that you have up there and you kind of run it, this net down and around, just around those bleachers and everything, so if it does come back or on the side, this doesn't get the fans.
Right, because the fans sitting over here are the ones coming from this ball field. I get that completely, come from the other ball field. So I mean, protect the bleachers, I get it, that's doable, but that space between the press box and the field, my gosh. That's a lot of space now. So,
I mean, we can go on and add that, add
Where-
more to it,
yeah, like
but it's
the
just,
bleachers, you're like putting 2 posts in behind each bleachers and connected it into what's already there on the
Right.
field, what I
trying to
mean?
tie it into the existing structure as best as you can.
But
Limit the tearing up stuff.
Well, I mean, we could price it. I'm just telling you, for 75,000, ain't gonna happen doing all of that. I just don't, I don't see that. And so, but anyway,
Like, looking at Garfield, did we get that room converted to a storm shelter, or is that? Be able to put a storm shelter quality door on that room off of the, stage?
That's on here.
So you're gonna do that,
But if we can do that, we don't have to mess with the
then we don't need to.
ADA lift
basement
downstairs. That's what we kind of talked about.
See, and then you talked about putting a full wall in there and venting in the sound and everything, cause it's just as sliding. Temp wall, right?
Yeah.
That we were talking about, that they could hear between them, and thought about moving,
That's Lincoln.
that's Lincoln.
Yeah, because Garfield is the one that we were trying to get a wheelchair access storm shelter, and they found that the concrete rooms off of the stage
The stage with,
Yeah.
with the right door would
would
be
be
set
the storm shelter.
for storm
Now,
shelter.
all we'd have to do is replace
The back side of it is the sped bathroom that needs to be remodeled for a shower.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's that little area there.
Maria said it has a concrete shell.
Alright. So you just need the,
The
That's
door,
the-
the
yeah,
door
door.
supposed. And if we put that bathroom there, we would have to give up a little bit of that space to redo that bathroom, is what we talked about, but that wall can be moved on the backside.
But also wondered, I mean, that this would be a cost thing, but
Cause it's.
it wouldn't be that hard to make this school nurses
Yeah.
space into the bathroom with the more changing area. And the kids would just have to be gotten down to the other end of the school, and that would have a concrete block wall. And it already has plumbing, so I don't know if we look at costs and feasibility, and if the teachers mind having to go across the school for.
Those are all good. And keep remembering what we didn't get. And that's the good news. We're not in a rush. We don't have to make, we have plenty of time to. And you can change your answers next month if you want to. I mean, that's fine. We can reprioritize. This is just to get the appetite of what's starting to kind of rise to the top tonight.
We eliminate some of it.
Do you want us to?
Yeah.
If you guys can do your personal homework, you can sticker, we can continue to discuss. It's up to you guys what you want to do.
Do we have costs on these additional considerations?
They're on that.
They're on this thing.
On that one over there? Okay,
And most.
'cause I was looking at these
on
on
these
my.
papers.
All right.
And in case you want to know, that's not my handwriting on the chart.
And Andy, they did write them up here too. If that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're-
Remodeling
But
the.
I can read them. You can't.
What units.
Who's the one?
And you said we had how many, what was?
2.2.
2.2, and that's the value of, and if you need to get change for a sticker, because it doesn't align your. August is the cashier tonight, and so she will cash out, if you need 100,000 divided into 250s, she is the. Houser
I
of
just
the
need-
dots.
I just need
Oh.
a number.
So 2.2.
Well, they don't each have 2.2, don't they total?
Okay.
No,
There
the
you
total
go.
is 2.2.
They each get a spin with 2.2. And then we'll see where the priorities start to look.
That really bothers this math teacher, just so you know. Unless.
So that puts a total at around like 9.9.
What about the district office roof?
It's 2.2 total and you each get to spend all of it like you were king for the day.
Well, I'm just trying to look at our total, because our total. The total of everything that's already up there on the top was like 7.7.
It's actually,
It's gonna be closer, once you start putting everything into it, it's gonna be closer to that 10, like that 10 million, once you start putting design, FF&E, technology and everything into that.
So I'm just going off these numbers that I was given, and
Yeah.
so you add all those numbers up here at 7.
So these are your rough estimate. RS means labor, material, and some escalation into those. And then you have your design and everything that'll be
You're gonna learn it there when I think.
all in it, like a total program budget.
under the grant.
Yeah.
Oh, where do you each? Or what's that? 75% of 150, what's that?
75% of 150.
Yeah.
750 and.
You don't wanna sit over there?
75.
Let's take her.
75 is 3,500, 35, 1 What?
75.
So $40,000 with the grant. And then you gotta throw the lighting project in there. But it doesn't have.
We have roofing that needs to be done on every building we have.
Little bits.
What about the roofing here?
Seems was like 75,000 somewhere.
Yeah.
It may be included.
District facilities on the back have roofing.
There it is.
Or is that already in the ball?
It's in the.
Okay.
Well, that's why we ought to cross all this stuff off that's in the bond. That was got it, got doubled up everywhere, and
Yeah.
different stuff.
Here's ball.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's like
Yeah.
the band equipment that's on there. We've already.
We crossed it off.
We crossed it off.
Well, not on this sheet, it ain't.
Right.
But I priced everything
Yeah.
He priced everything. We didn't.
from
get it.
HTK.
We didn't get it until Friday afternoon, and so we're still in tweak.
You know, that track repair and stuff at Wakefield, I thought it was already on our capital outlay.
It's in the plan somewhere. Yeah, I can't remember what year.
Thought maybe next year or the year after it's already in. I mean, it's already gonna be
11
11, 12 years old.
Is it showing a lot of sign like breaking apart and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
there's concrete that's settled and
Settled. Yeah.
cracked, but I mean, we did it in 2015, so. You know, the lifetime expectancy, you know, I don't know.
We just
It hasn't ever been
replaced,
resurfaced.
we're replacing ours and it's 2010 and everything. We're doing it this year, but we have to do the whole underlayment and everything like that.
This has a curve, this has a curve all the way on the
Oh,
inside.
This year.
We've got concrete break because we got a water rush.
It's a drainage problem in it too.
We had a company test, a track company test, give us estimates that I can share.
All right, that's fine. And and we'll just probably plug in early to keep them up with the market and everything to see if there's any trends. Is this encompass? This
Yes.
Was the ceiling paint at the middle school, was that in the gym?
Should have asked you first.
Jim
Jim
and
and.
Commons.
Almonds, the paint was peeling off the bottom of that tin that's on the
Yeah, the
road.
gym has looked
They have like soffit stuff up there and it just peeling and.
Yeah, the gym has looked like. Forever.
And nobody's put any doubts on the windows of the sack, but. Just throwing it out there.
I think they're listening to you.
I already had a pitch to Jeff earlier.
You want me to stick around?
We're just gonna do August is. August is office.
Yeah, we decided that.
I'll do it.
So,
I've overspent, I got cut something.
Maybe I'll get somebody to make a donation.
I'll take care of it. Well,
Thanks, Tracy.
take care of all this.
You're all big on this, to building that pool, aren't you? Thanks.
We did a negative thing.
Just made amazing. What do you mean?
80.
So remind me again, if it wasn't on these lists more than once, it was on, it's not on these. Correct?
Ask that.
If I wrote something on this chart and I was the only one that wrote it, is it on these?
No. But it could be, if you wanted added on the list, and we can add it next month.
Next month, okay.
We could put it in a different color. Right there, so we know it's new, like some of these ones we forgot, we'll add them or to the charts next month and just put them in a different color.
Oh, yeah, you can read it.
I saw it somewhere.
I don't see it.
What you looking for, Shannon?
The bus lane.
Yeah.
Oh, I expected.
Okay, that's in the book.
Those things are very different. More, and like, I feel like I'll look. That's the neighborhood.
When you guys are done, Chartwell's did put some root beer float stuff in the break room if you'd like a little treat. Okay,
Root beer float, peach and
Fanta.
orange. Correct.
What group do we got left at the high school?
That was
crossed that
a typo, we crossed that off,
To double.
we doubled that up. So
So how about Lincoln, Northfield? Is Wakefield, are we doing the last roof there? We already approved.
yeah, it's scheduled,
But I'm saying that's the roofing that's on here.
Kristen and Maria share our roof audit, annual audit report. No, I'll send that to you.
Alright. Yeah, the only thing I've had from them is just their,
Maps.
that's it, so.
Not that everybody like to see us check a price on this classrooms conversion.
I wrote it
In
down.
the basement, you know what I'm saying?
This info.
Yeah. They were also talking about possibly getting water down there, because if they made it and music. You know, one of them. Because I remember you guys looking at that down there in that closet, you know, like what's down there.
Trying to figure out, if you had that steel beam that comes down.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
That's.
that's what I said. Really good. You got any 5,000 stickers? Just write it there, Jeff. We go 5,000 over, we'll find a way to cover it. 5,000 bucks on 2.2 million.
I'm just saying that
We'll save that interest.
somebody put,
Well, cause it's 120.
Someone
they
like,
spent 120 grand on that access to the track, where it's not very smart. We could spend 120,000 a lot different ways.
I mean, in general, just a lot of concrete.
Am I in your way?
Just having somebody local look at a lot of concrete.
And then that's the thing, if you have somebody local that does it and everything. You can just make it nice.
Yeah. Well, I've got people, they talked about, doing that meeting with subcontractors and suppliers. I mean, I've got people set up
Yeah.
locally,
We'll do that subcontractor summit.
in November, I think is when that's on the thing.
Yeah, when we start getting those, on that final big document ready.
Yeah.
We'll have that, and kind of a subcontractor summit with a pre-bid walk and everything like that, and kind of walk them down through everything.
Just, so some of them you could make smaller, so local guys could do it. Something like the concrete or something like that.
We can tailor packages to them so that like, say like, hey, I only wanna do the sidewalk, or hey, I only wanna do the netting or some framing, we can tailor that subcontractor.
I don't even think they ever can do that.
288 for this, you guys, they're not in the same.
Order of this, yes.
What are we doing?
They need to be in the same order as the
Because I
back.
had the map document to write. the
I'm glad I
list.
wasn't the only one.
If I would have known, I would have grouped the things and went together.
Some contractors, making sure, like the painting and the gym, somebody's got no.
Yeah, it's,
So
we
it doesn't
wanna make sure
come
that they're
off.
bonded, they're qualified and everything like that financially. So we go through that whole vetting process.
Right.
And everything.
I'm sure.
And, we just, we got the Mitchell County out. So thank you. So that was good. Another project out this way that helps with subcontractors with Oakley, Beloit. So that's always good. So,
Live in it.
Fix the gym. Field on the west.
yeah, where the moisture was coming in. Yeah, that was.
Gym more on the west.
I got it.
Yeah, where that stuff's falling off.
I need to
And it
trash
could,
in.
I seen if there's flashing and stuff. It could be
there.
That's causing that on those windows and that, you know?
Wait.
No.
Yeah.
Hopefully enough to.
So that can actually fall dead on.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, that's good.
Or we can throw it away, I guess.
Yeah, yes. No, there's, I mean.
On the ground.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Party's
Gotta be better than that.
Yeah, 'cause we're.
Yeah.
200, that's probably what it's causing. Just that water coming down and being behind. But then I'm not sure open it up, you don't know, wait. Well, we.
Sidewalk that.
I thought was the city wanting permission to put that side, do a side, just to our border? I thought they were. What I thought.
They're applying for drains to do it. They're
Yeah.
applying for drains to do it.
It's a good young guys who will deal. They're broke and.
Yeah, I think a lot of it would be a lot of concrete stuff, just as a. You know, low point.
Yeah. Not a good deal or there's about 8 yards of concrete there.
That's probably me to put that, the doors up
Be
there.
full of
No,
you didn't put these numbers out to the side.
no, I know, if I put a dot, I might have put a dot there, just because I really like to put that concrete thing in there, but not at that price.
Agreed.
You know, kind of like access to the restaurant. I agree, you know, I want to do that, but not at that price. So.
Stay clean.
There's a lot of things that I wanna do, but not at that price.
Right. I mean, that's why I've done that.
That's all I get.
I was thinking more in personal life, more than.
Oh, yeah.
What about Fred?
Just take a pin, Dave, and drive it up.
Well, if you're up close, you can read it.
Yeah, everything's a little over budget. We'll find a way to figure it out.
It's still Dave. Still Dave's document, they're all on here.
And again, I mean, like I sure, Brett, I agree, a lot of this stuff needs to be done. But this initial year.
They need to spend 80, all they got.
That's. Those are the things that you and Craig need to spread out. To me, I like this is the ones that we
So
want
if
to
you
do.
rip it, is it worth half as much?
Do here right
Yeah.
away. You get them all.
Should be. Yeah, it was expensive.
What is TW? I need to ask.
Room wall unit,
Yeah, okay.
it's the motel. Heater and air conditioner.
And then part of it,
The reset.
right.
The reset. Along with the board. 2 years with the reset. I mean, we're getting better.
In which classes?
But I-
Academically.
This one is job is because that's us not reading. They read it, but. Oh, no. Like I said, I don't disagree.
well,
that it
and-
got better.
It's one grade.
But you're comparing
you
two
know?
different, that's why I was asking all the third grades, that's being reversed on. I want to compare the through the same class. You know,
I'm sorry.
Oh, that looks like a Ames web.
I'll do it my couple rounds, like,
Nice progression.
Yeah, that's what.
hey, Jackson, I got a question for you.
Yes.
So like the third graders, this is the first time they take the assessment. Do they put together something then like when they take it in the fourth grade, you can compare the classes as they go through?
We have to do that ourselves, but they're actually, I think they're back. They just started a tour this year. We can.
It'd just be interesting, you know, that same class as they go through.
So we track that ourselves, but what you did this year. is nice. It makes the kid beautiful. And you read school, so you catch,
Right.
so they are.
Got it figured out.
Takes out.
Which it should.
They sure what they did for us. That was. This year.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat. When you're with the small districts, somebody says they need it.
Yeah.
Because. Because I know.
But
But you know, 5 or 6 kids can make a huge difference. in their little school district.
We're looking to
always be hard.
percent. That's one of the first things. that-
Right now.
It's called a-
It's that, it's not too
a generator, I can't remember the first names or something, and five electric, it's a nice.
It would be neat thing on that for this graduating class. Here's what they did with each of their assessments as they went third, where's one fifth.
I don't think.
You don't think.
It was really bad, dude. I just had that so grass.
I got 40,000 last time.
There you go.
It can go to the baseball field.
Write that up,
Yeah.
write your own in.
Now, could I? That. Like to run the big, the virus fighting.
I could, but I feel like it's missed. Once you get to. Just gotta use the ones that's right.
So they put water out,
Yeah, they suck.
and then where does it go? We collect ours from our nice. Water outside.
Well, I don't have enough.
But we have a ton, but I don't know. So
You ain't gonna have.
just dump it back in the pool.
Unless you buy the lot next to you. You're not gonna have a garden.
Well, but if it's, admittedly, if you leave it high in there, you could have all kinds of tropical plants. You could grow like an orange tree. All right, but.
Or not.
It's a fine line,
Control.
it's a fine line. Between moldy and tropical.
Mushroom.
And so.
While you guys are finishing up and we have Chris here, anything that you would like them to dig into or at least be considered as an option. Let's talk about it now so that they can work on it for the next one.
And I can give you my card and everything, you can email me if it's something that pops up later.
Yeah, I'd like an email address, we could.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about this resolution? We need-
That's the end.
Those, and, you know, read the rest of it.
and I think,
There you go.
And this is,
So what's everybody's feeling about cafeteria tables and commons areas tables and chairs? I mean, is that something you think we ought to just buy it and be done with it? And if it's actually a need,
well, but I heard from two of the building principals, it really isn't a high.
well, that's fine, but I'm just, I think if we need it, if we need them, or what do you think? I mean, and I understand, Bud said he could probably get another 3 years out of his. Keith said he could probably get the same.
He's probably the oldest, because I remember Sid has.
Yeah, some of them ones that wait.
Oh, I think the ones that
Wakefield,
Wakefield,
corners of the
it's,
tables.
stuff Tipping off of them.
I think Wakefield would be the priority.
Well, I just,
That
you know,
way
I
the-
just
the
think,
high school principal here says, yeah, I think they're fine. I don't really, if we added them, but I don't really think we need it, then I don't.
Well, maybe we get a better buy if we.
well, I didn't know, both
Purchase some.
I mean, of course,
that-
if you do.
If they're gonna be in the next 3 years, maybe get a better buy. And not that that's not this, we can put in capital outlay to do.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole thing.
I mean, that was one thing in 3 buildings out of the
Yeah.
5, somebody said they mentioned the tables and chairs in their
I mean,
commons areas.
this,
think there's a lot
like,
of
stuff
things-
I didn't put stickers on or money, it's not that I don't think we need to do them, but I think over the 10-year capital outlay plan, we can work them in. I just don't think it'll need to be done right now.
I think it'd be better to put money towards where they're asking us to put money instead of things that they're like, well, you know, if you have extra. You know.
We will need, motion and a vote on the resolution. It's in there.
I move to approve resolution 05-11-2026, a resolution authorizing and directing the issuance, sale, and delivery of general obligation bonds, series 2026 of Unified School District number 379, Clay County, Kansas, Clay County, providing for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on said bonds as they become due, making certain covenants and agreements to provide for the payment and security thereof, and authorizing certain other documents and actions connected therewith.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, now enrollment funding.
So this is, I'm just, as you guys know, as we go into closeout, we start preparing for a new budget year. I just, each month I'll kind of share few little tidbits, and as we get some things coming in. This shouldn't be a surprise, but it certainly is something that keeps me awake at night. As you know, we have been lost 100 and just over 100 students in the last 2 years. And that's a significant number. We did work towards making some partial reductions last year. And so we did some really hard work last year in regards to some budget reductions, but we still have a long ways to go. Unless something would magically change with enrollment, which there's a couple of things. We qualified for 3-year average this year, which was a really big deal. And so in that second from last column, you can see in last budget year and this budget year, we were funded for an additional 62, an additional 84 students that we really didn't have. It's just that we qualified for the 3-year average. And so as that 3-year average starts falling off, we will start realizing that more and more. And as you can see, starting in 26-27, I'm only projecting a loss of 10 students, but that's because we've kind of worked through really big senior classes. For example, in Clay Center, we have in the 70s graduating this year. And we know we're going to have in the 70s in kindergarten. So that will really help. But we're still going to have to eventually make up for those 2 really, really hard years. Here's the most counterintuitive thought process that I think I've ever had in school finance. So we've been declining in enrollment. that qualifies us for the 3-year average. But if we next year, say on September 20th, have one more student than we did the year before, we don't qualify for 3-year average. And then we would realize the direct loss the following year, because it's always based on year prior or current year, whichever's higher. And so, and I say it's counterintuitive because we say, well, we want more kids, but right now, we really don't want more kids than we had the year before, because the 3-year average is really easing us into this transitional period. And so we are gonna have to continue to find ways to reduce our expenses to match our revenue, because it will catch up to us. It's not going anywhere. It's coming. And so we need to wait and see for September 20th. We already know what we're guaranteed for enrollment next year because it's always year prior. So we know worst case and we know best case. But I think we will have to engage in some more conversations next year to make up for the loss of the revenue. And to further complicate this, because we were funded on that additional 84 students this year, that's not a perpetual funding thing. And by that, I mean, we will slowly eat into that every year moving forward. And so when we close out this year, we're gonna have an additional couple $100,000 because we're funded on it, but we can't budget it to spend in the future because it's not an ongoing revenue source. And so we'll need to be, I have some ideas with that, just as we prepare, get your thoughts on it. I think there's several things that we could look at doing, start taking some care of some one-time expenses. Those are easy things to do. We could look at eating into our HVAC lease payoff if we wanted to with some of those one-time things. Some of our bigger contracts too, this will help set the district up for success in the future. We could shift to start paying for some one-time things in this fiscal year versus next fiscal year. And then down the road, if something big changes were done with the school finance formula and we really needed, if we were really struggling, we're not right now, we're in a really solid financial position right now. It's just a matter of being preventative and planning ahead to ensure that we don't get somewhere where we don't want to be. And so Andrea and I've talked about shifting some of the timing of when we pay some bills, start paying some things ahead of time, some longer term contracts payments, and take care of some of that one-time money. Because, and I think the great example is lots of times staff will say, oh, well, we had an extra 150,000, let's give it to salaries. Well, that's a perpetual expense. And so that 150 isn't coming back the next year. So you can't build that into your perpetual budget. And so finding some of those opportunities to capitalize on this great thing that happened, but is what it's doing. It's slowing it down so we don't have to make so many major changes all at one time. And so kind of think of this as a 2 to 3 year process that we'll probably have to slowly start making those adjustments and changes so that we can adjust to the new revenue. Now I'd hope that we would be able to bounce back from enrollment, but I just don't think we will. I think this is where we are, and our best case is to stay steady versus decline, because I don't have any evidence that we're going to grow. And I hope I'm wrong for that, but I hope that we don't. And then there's a little graph at the end. And the thing that will start happening slowly and slowly. So the last 7 years, base aid per pupil's gone up by 3 to 5%. And so, for example, this year it's closer to that 5% mark, but because of our loss of revenue, it eats into any increases in base aid per pupil. And as many of districts across the state are experiencing now, their enrollment loss in revenue is exceeding the increase in base aid per pupil. So even though base aid's going up, they're still bringing in fewer dollars, even with an increase in base aid. Now, their big factor is the school finance formula is on the books legislatively to change. There's committee work going on right now. They pushed that another year, but it sounds like next legislative cycle, they will tackle that. And so, obviously, we can't predict if they're gonna make changes to that formula, but any impact there would be huge. And so as I have conversations out and about in the district, folks are like, well, how are we gonna do that? What's our best case scenario to fix this issue? And this is something that you can't control as a local board, but our community voices can change, and that is special ed funding. If the state were to fully fund special education to the statutory level, our budget problem solves itself overnight, because all of a sudden we're not supplementing 750,000 from general fund over to special ed. And so,
That isn't gonna happen.
not in the
So-
current,
I mean, we can't plan on that, because there's no history of it happening, and if it does, it's Merry Christmas twice.
but I think people ask me what they could do, and it's talk to your elected officials, tell them what's important, share your perspective, share the impact that that has on our kids, our teachers, our district.
They did a small increase again this year on that. Do you know how that will pay off for us?
It's so little, we won't even feel, I mean, think it was 10
I
million.
think it's 10 million.
Or all the districts in the state, which is gonna be. And then the statutory level of funding is going down from next year, so anymore, even though they're adding 10 million. The loss is gonna be greater than it's. Whatever the word is, whatever the word is, that means it doesn't mean much. But anyhow, I just want this to be on your radar. Again, I want to reiterate, is it a problem? 100%. Is it a challenge we're gonna face that we're gonna have to tackle 100%? The good news is, we're in really good financial position from a cash flow perspective, and as long as we're thinking ahead and we're not reactive and we're preventative, we can stay ahead of it, but we can't just bury our heads and pretend it's not there, because it's there. It is coming. It is going to impact our books significantly in the next few years, and we're just need to be having lots of conversations, talking about it, planning for it, preparing for it. And the good news is, it is what it is. We know what the problem is. We have time to solve the problem, but that little nuance of if we grow at all, it would drastically speed up the process to making up for the loss. Weird. I don't know if I'd ever say we don't want to grow as a district, but it is the case right now, so. And so as we start closing out our books this May and June, we'll start, just as a reminder, our strategy 4 or 5 years ago, we got there was to make sure we fill all of our special funds. Think of those funds where we pay people out of. We always try to fund those to the level that they were last year, add 5%, so that we can make our payroll. Remember, we don't get paid until January, our big payment, we don't get paid till January, so we gotta make payroll from fall all the way through the month of December, and so we like to make sure that those special funds are filled, so we don't have to worry or move money around to stay ahead of payroll, that we can make payroll through January. And so we'll start doing those things. Then we have the required transfers into CTE and at risk and all the things. So they give it on our audit sheet and we say, okay, we know this much has to go. So we move to at risk, we move it to CTE, those different places. And then once we fill all of our special funds, then we will start looking at what we might have left and what future needs are and start allocating. A good example is we skipped a textbook adoption this year, but remember last year we put an extra good chunk in there in preparation of a math adoption next year. So again, just another example of we're being preventative, we're thinking ahead. We're planning for those future purchases. We're not being reactive. And so there's a few of those things that I'll be talking with you in the next couple of months of what's coming, what do we need to plan for, what do we need to get ahead on? And start building those into our short and long-term strategy. And then by the June meeting, we will do that end of the year transfer work and decide where we're gonna make those priorities. I really think we should, at the end of the year, look towards making a pretty big transfer over to special ed. Just anticipating future reductions in that department and getting that over into Fund 30 so that as we do have to fund that, we're planned ahead, we're prepared, and we don't have to take away from general fund or LOP throughout a year to help cover those costs. So I think
My
that'll,
question is that we would do that, right? If someone come up and we would need some of that back, we pull it back out.
I'd have to look at KSD's transfer schedule.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just plan ahead in some accounts and I'll look at, but if we need some, I'd like to be able to put it in the accounts, we could pull it back out if we need some.
Yeah, I'll look at that chart. I can't remember if you could, they have a lot of different rules for ins and outs on those, and I can't remember once that goes in if it can come out or not. Wait, I'll look that up. But any topics you guys would like to see me talk about or cover as we start closing out or opening up the new budget? Obviously, you guys know it's a long process. We start in May and June and we go through August. I think we approve it September now. Final approval somewhere, several month process, but there's things that you guys would like to talk about or you'd like me to hit on, just let me know.
Have you got the evaluation from the county yet?
No, we don't usually get that till summer. It's usually in June.
Move on to board member district boundaries.
Okay, so August is the driver on this one. She knows how to use the software. Thanks, Chris. Drive safe.
Thank you.
So as you know, just background for our public who's listening in, the kind of the driver to this process was when we agreed to help the consolidation of 334. So we added that boundary out west. So we have to incorporate that into our board member boundaries. And along with that, we were reminded to check our populations within our wards. And we had not, as a district, done that, and we figured maybe 20 years or so. Does that sound right? Mhm. And so the statute says the board boundaries must be in within 5% of each other. And so the first round was getting our data. The Frontline, the company that we used, mapped our district, mapped where all the people are, how many people were living where, and then it pumps out population, and you can move these lines and adjust them to meet population. One thing that Dusty helped us uncover was that we had long time traditionally aligned ward boundaries within the city of Clay Center, where the biggest population is, to match city council wards. So our public doesn't have to try to understand and digest two different maps within the city and where they live. And so that's some of the feedback we need from you tonight. This is early draft. We have as long as we need to make these decisions. So there's no rush on this one either. Would be kind of, what are you guys' priorities? A couple of the things, you know, as you move lines, if you move one of you that are a currently seated board member, if we move a line and then it puts you into a different ward, you serve your term, but then you would have to rerun in a seat that was within your ward. So that's one question, is that an important thing that we try to keep you all in your same wards and aligned populations? Do you want to keep your board member wards the same? Do you want to shift wards? Do we want more or less wards. You can, a lot of districts go all at large, then you don't need any map. You can do that. There's all kinds of options out there. Do you guys not care? Does it make more sense? For example, if you look at option,
I think option two, I mean, when I read through this, we're just like the city, it doesn't change any wards. Looks like all their percentages are in line. They're all in the 33%.
so that's the one August, the second one. So the first one is where we currently are. The second one is the one the software company just made. They just said, okay, city wards, here's an option. It follows highways, it follows natural boundaries. And then August and I went and kind of looked at it and said, well, what if we try to keep everyone the same and we adjust a few things? And so, like, for example, it doesn't follow Highway 24 anymore. Don't know if that's a big deal or not, but it doesn't follow major landmarks. But it does keep everybody, and the population's the same. It's kind of weird how Orange goes, yeah, isn't connected to each other. We didn't know if that's a big deal or not. And again, we can play with this any how or which way we want, but
Just even all the city wards anymore, 1524, they've taken a couple of them and moved them off of 15. I mean, there's, but I think if they, I just think adding another map gets confusing for people. The school district, here's how you're voting. When it comes to city stuff, here's how. And if we could do that, that would be my preference. I just think that's easiest.
If we keep it within the boundaries of the city.
Not that we have to make that decision
Better off.
tonight, but,
yeah.
but to me, that would be my first preference, be able to align it with the city.
And both options here do that.
And it is kind of nice on option one, and it's doing very clear, this is where your border is. At least for the green area.
I got to doing some research on this, and I noticed in year 2022 that 66% of the state school districts, which is 190 of them, elected basically at large. That's all seven. They went to that.
66%.
I didn't know that.
My personal preference would be to, we need to protect the, you know, the areas.
Mhm.
You know, at least there are people from those areas. I think that's. So I guess the difference between 1 and 2 is 1, it could displace current board member, or just put them in a different view.
Yeah.
So.
And just so you know, we didn't spend
Sure.
a ton of time on this. Like, we just took what they gave us and we said, okay, well, how do we make this one small, this one smaller and give the two pieces, and what makes the most sense? And so it really the
You can do any.
yeah.
I mean,
Right, but I don't think we need to spend that much time, you know, saying.
So we just kind of think about it, and come back next
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, unless you have feedback for us, something you'd like to see changed or tweaked, or another option, or. And then if it's all right with you guys, what we discovered in our county, we don't have a lot of high quality electronic maps. Like, our current board boundary is drawn in by marker and
Mhm.
lines, and so we would share our electronic maps with the city or anybody who wanted them for their own public use.
Thank you for your time. Giving the feeling going through this.
August follows directions better than I do, because we got on those webinars and it's like, do this and drag this and click that and go over here. She did a good job remembering what those were and how to do it, so.
Coming stuff in next meetings are health insurance, budget, needs assessment, Tiger House, and bus purchases.
Where's our current Tiger House going? I know we bought it, but I just wonder where it's
Going
going.
on Main
about
Street.
2 blocks.
It's going on Wayne Street.
Yeah, 700 block of lane on the north side. I don't know what the exact address is.
Yep, I didn't know the answer to that. Probably 15 minutes, guys. Is that enough for negotiations?
Yeah.
Where we go into executive session to discuss negotiations, letter exchange pursuant to the negotiations exception with KOMA. The meeting shall resume at 8:45. The executive session should include board superintendent and council.
Why didn't we get that?
There's some made, there's some made up in there, they might be kind of melting down, my life. So if you have fresh ice, you can see.
He says, oh, man. How are you? Only seats worse than those seats or those seats.
Do that on purpose.
Moving on to executive session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under KOMA. And that the open meeting shall resume. Okay, at 9:16. Executive session shall include board superintendent, that one, the council.
Second.
Fine.
Yeah. Well, we've already got Wi-Fi. We've already got the PlayStation.
What?
Can I just give you?
Oh, yeah.
We extend the personnel executive session by 15 minutes.
Second. 9:31.
Yeah, sorry, 9:31. Thank you, Dustin. All those in favor?
Yeah. All kinds of stuff.
Yep. Anybody got any questions on personnel?
I move we approve personnel as listed.
Was it there? And so. So.
You wanna do a supplemental one too, or? include it?
Yeah, we have supplemental.
It's 3 separate.
Yeah, I'm going to approve the classified renewals for the 26-27 school year as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? I'm going to approve this supplemental renewals for 26. Oh, sorry.
You're supposed to pass out the bill.
Yes.
All right, sorry. I move to approve the supplemental renewals for 26-27 as presented.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Did we take out
I fix. I
the
took-
gal that was
Shannon
retired was
yeah.
listed as on the supplementals?
Yes, I took that.
I don't think she's
Yeah.
gonna be here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All those in favor? Ready to adjourn?
Second.
Favor?